Hi everyone, my name is Rooij. I'm a Dutch-based landscape photographer, and in this Lightroom tutorial I will show you how you go from this image on the left to this image on the right. As you can see, there's quite a big difference in the color. I will show you how to do this and how to create this sunrise mood in your photographs. So the difference is quite big, and you can do those edits in different circumstances. So this photo on the left side was taken before sunrise, so before there was even light. I took this photograph, so I couldn't get the warm light yet. It was possible to wait, of course, but I wanted to go to another location, so that's why I didn't wait over here to wait for the right light. So that's a good example, especially when it's foggy like here. Another example is if the light is there, if the sunrise light is there, but not visible enough, the same tactic, the same edits I'm going to use right now in this photograph do apply also for that type of photographs. So let's reset everything. So let's go back to how it was during the import, and let's make all the edits. So obviously the biggest change I did was in the white balance. So the white balance, it is as shot, it was automatic. In this case I can do it in auto. That already makes it a little bit warmer, but I increase it way more. So I went up all the way to, well, over 12,000 in this case. That makes the photo really warmer. I think there is a little bit too much green in this photograph, so I add a little bit of magenta. And I also did some edits in the exposure, and also that helps to create the right mood in your photograph. So especially with the whites, what you can see, it makes the whole image a little bit brighter, and that applies to this photograph, of course, because it was very foggy. You can see a lot of bright tones, so that's why whites really work out for a photograph like this. And to add a little bit more contrast, I decrease the blacks a little bit. So the color is not really what I want as a result, so let's move on. And let's add some vibrance, because the vibrance really helps to get the right colors, as you can see. So this really makes creates the mood of a sunrise and makes the colors, the warm tones, a little bit more fresh. So maybe I can add some saturation also. Well, honestly, I think this is too much, so maybe a little bit. Do you like landscape and cityscape photography? Sign up for our free Facebook group and learn more about landscape and cityscape photography. We organize nice photo challenges, you can help each other out, you can share your own photos, so sign up, join the group, and see you there. To have more control over the colors, I go to HSL, and in HSL I go to luminance. So over here I can tweak the colors a little bit more specific, and in this case I would like to brighten up the warm tones a little bit, so just a bit like this. So you can see that yellow is in +13, orange is in +3, so there's also a little bit of orange over here. It's always a mix, of course. So now we made 3 changes in the colors. First we did a change in the white balance, then we did change the vibrance, and in the end we changed the luminance of the warm tone. So those 3 options you have in Lightroom are the ones you need, and of course the right combination is important. So make sure you try them all, and just don't be afraid to experiment. So just go all the way to the right to see what happens, or all the way to the left. That's the only way to find out what kind of result it has, because sometimes we are afraid to go too far to the right or to the left. We are too focused on the numbers here, but in the end the numbers do not count. It counts what happens here in the middle. So to finish off this photograph, I go to detail. Of course, this is not a super sharp photo. Well, the photo is sharp, the subject is also sharp, but because the circumstances were very foggy, it looks like a big haze. So we can apply a little sharpening, but that doesn't do too much. And if I apply sharpening, I always do it combined with the mask. So when you press the Alt key, the Option key for Mac users, it is possible to only apply the sharpening in the edges. So that's also the most important, because it doesn't make sense to sharpen a plain color like we have here in the top of the photograph. I think I want to see if I can emphasize the animal a little bit more. I zoom in a little bit and I go to basic, and here in texture, let's see what happens if I add a little bit of texture. I think that helps this photograph a little bit, not only here but also here in the foreground. Yeah, that looks nice. And let's continue. The lens corrections are applied automatically, so that was already applied. It already happens when I import the photographs. Chromatic aberration, I don't think it's visible here. Let's see if something happens if I remove it. I don't see any difference. My experience is if you enable this option and it's not there, it doesn't influence your photograph in a bad way, so you can leave it on anyway. And of course, in the end, I crop the photograph because I ended up with a squared photo. So let's change the aspect ratio to 1:1. I don't want the animal to be in the middle of the photograph. I don't want too much empty space here on top. So I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, maybe like this. Sometimes you have to apply the crop to see how it looks like. I think this is a bit too much. Let's give it a bit more space. Done. That already looks better. Maybe a little bit more to the left. Well, I think I'm happy in this way. Maybe less foreground, because I think this is nice in your photograph, but not too much. It's only to give the photograph a little bit more depth. It is also a bit darker than the grass here in where the animal is. But if you show too much, in the end it is about the animal, not about the grass. So it only helps for your composition to create a little bit of the feeling of depth, because this photograph doesn't have much depth at all. But I think to keep this here, I think it's a nice extra. And that's basically it. I think this is all I need to do in this photograph. I don't want to apply a vignette. Sometimes I like to do that, but when especially in the sky, the colors are very bright and the color is very plain everywhere, it doesn't look nice to darken the corners over here. Of course, you can solve that issue by using this slider. Well, in this case, not so much, but I prefer in photographs like this not to use the vignette. Maybe a bit of more warm tones, even like this. I'm happy like this. So the key for a really nice mood for sunrise photographs is get the warm tones with your white balance, increase it even more with your vibrance, and to have more control in the warm colors, go to HSL, and mainly the luminance is going to help you to brighten up that color a little bit more. So let me know what you think about this video. If you have specific questions about Lightroom, also let me know in the comments. I'm really happy to help you out with that, or maybe it's a good reason for me to create more tutorials and solve your problems in that new tutorial. I hope you learned something new, and let me know what you think about this video in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.